Good evening, dear students. Today we'll try to understand what a flip-flop is. Okay, but before understanding flip-flops, we need to know about what a sequential circuit is. Okay, till now we have come across combinational circuits. By combinational circuit, what I mean is the circuits in which the output at a particular instant is dependent on the input at that instant, right? That is, by combinational circuit we mean output at a given instant is dependent on the input at that very instant. So combinational circuits do not have a memory. The output is dependent only at the input at that instant, and it is unaffected by the history of inputs, right? But sequential circuits are different. In case of sequential circuits, the output at a particular instant is dependent on the sequence of inputs. That means it is dependent on the history of inputs, right? Sequential circuit. In sequential circuits, what happens is the output at a particular instant is dependent on the history of inputs, or you can say the sequence of inputs, right? So hence the name sequential circuit. So you obviously can understand a sequential circuit has a memory. It can memorize its previous inputs, right? Now the main building block of a sequential circuit is a flip-flop. So today we are going to study in detail what a flip-flop is, okay? The flip-flop is a circuit which can store 1 bit. That means it has 1 bit memory, okay? It remains in one of its state, that is either 0 or 1, indefinitely, unless an external trigger is applied. So, like I've said, a flip-flop has a 1 bit memory. It can store its output, be it 0 or 1. It can indefinitely store that output until and unless it is triggered again, right? So to understand it better, we need to know the circuit and how it works. So let's see how a flip-flop looks like, right? So first we are going to study what a SR flip-flop looks like, or what a SR flip-flop is, okay? Realization of SR flip-flop using NAND gate, okay? So you have the inputs S and R, you have a NAND gate, you have another NAND gate over here, okay. So this is how SR flip-flop looks like when you make it using a NAND gate. Make it using various NAND gates, right? So now we need to see the functioning, that whether it really has a 1 bit memory or not. So let's see how what the outputs are from the logic from the circuit. We can find out the logic expression for Q and Q bar, right? So like we can see, S passes through a NAND gate, so obviously it comes out to be S bar. R passes through a NAND gate, it comes out to be R bar. Okay, let's name the gates. It's G1, G2, G3 and G4. Fine. Then what we see, a S bar goes to gate G3, and also Q bar comes from the output and goes to gate G3, right? So the output over here is S bar dot a Q bar and a bar. So over here you have Q bar, right? So Q is equal to S bar dot Q bar and its bar. Now let's see what Q bar comes up to. Okay, we have this R passing through a NAND gate. However, here it becomes an R bar, a R bar. This R bar and a Q has been taken from the output and fed back to gate G4. So it comes out to be R bar dot a Q and a bar. So here you have this, right? So Q bar is equal to R bar dot Q and a bar. So now you apply Boolean rules. It becomes S double bar plus a Q double bar, which is equal to S plus a Q, right? And this becomes R plus a Q bar. Okay. So now let's see how we can prove that it has memory. Okay. First I'll write the truth table and then I'll explain it to you. Okay. So how the truth table looks like. Next page. Truth table of SR flip-flop. You have a S, R and the output Qn plus 1. 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1 and a 1, 1. Okay. Over here we get Qn, over here we get 1, over here we get 0, and over here we get unpredictable result. This stage is not allowed. Okay. So we'll try to understand how we get this truth table. Okay. Now let Qn be the output of the circuit before S equal to R equal to 0 state. Okay. So what we mean to say is let Qn be the output, the previous output, that is the last value of the output that the circuit had given. Okay, before the application of the state S equal to 0, R equal to 0. Okay, this Qn can be a 0, this Qn can be a 1, whatever be, this is the output of the last stage. Okay. Now stage 1 is S equal to 0 and R equal to 0, right? Okay, so we have Q is equal to S plus Q and Q bar is equal to R plus Q bar. And the output at our last stage was, previous output was Qn, right? So the new output, that is Qn plus 1, is equal to S plus Qn. That means the previous output, because the feedback has been taken, right? So over here it comes up to S is equal to 0 plus a Qn. That means Qn plus 1 is equal to Qn. Similarly, Qn plus 1 bar is equal to R plus Qn bar, because the feedback has been taken. If you see the circuit, the Qn has been taken back and that value of Qn is the previous value of Qn, right? So over here it becomes 0 plus a Qn bar is equal to Qn bar. So Qn plus 1 bar is equal to Qn bar. So we can see that the new output is equal to the previous output. From here we can say that a flip-flop has a memory, right? Because the output has been restored. So from this we can conclude the flip-flop has a memory. Okay. Like we have claimed before that it has a 1-bit memory. Okay. Now the second stage is S is equal to 1 and R is equal to 1. Okay. So if we apply Q is equal to S plus Q we have, and Q bar is equal to R plus Q bar, right? We have it from the circuit. Now we'll put over here is equal to 1 plus Q. Whatever you add with 1, whatever be the value of Q, we will end up getting a 1, right? Because we know that from Boolean algebra. So Q is equal to 1. Now over here Q bar is equal to R is 0 plus a Q bar is equal to Q bar. Now this, if you look in the circuit, the value of Q comes immediately, right? Q equal to 1, we get the value of Q. Now that value will be put back to will be fed back to get G4, right? So is equal, we have already got Q is equal to 1 from here, so it becomes a 1 bar and you get a 0. Q bar is equal to 0. See, we have got this. Qn is equal to 1 and Q bar is equal to 0. Third stage is when S equal to 0 and R is equal to 1, right? So Q is equal to S plus Q and Q bar is equal to R plus Q bar. First we'll do this because we have a 1 over here that will help us, is equal to 1 plus a Q bar is equal to 1. So whenever we get Q bar is equal to 1, we immediately know Q is equal to 0, right? So we'll put it over here. S is equal to 0 plus Q is equal to, since Q bar is equal to 1, Q will automatically be equal to 0. So the moment your one output value gets certified, that is 1 or 0, you automatically know the bar value, right? So over here, see, we have first calculated Q equal to 1 and immediately we know Q bar will equal to be 0. Similarly over here, first it is easier to calculate Q bar is equal to 1, so immediately you know Q is equal to 0. Okay, now comes the fourth stage. Okay, we have proved this as well. Now we'll come over here. S is equal to R is equal to 1. Now what happens in this stage? Why is this stage not allowed? Now Q is equal to S plus Q and Q bar is equal to R plus a Q bar, right? Over here S is equal to 1 plus Q, so you get Q is equal to 1. This Q bar is equal to R plus Q bar, so you get 1 plus Q bar. Even this turns out to be 1, so Q bar is equal to 1, which is a contradiction, right? Q and Q bar cannot be 1 at a time because this Q will tend to be 1 and 0. So due to this discrepancy, this stage is not allowed because this will give you unpredictable result, right? So now we go back to the truth table and what we can see is when our S and R, both the values are 0, our last output is retained. So we can see flip-flop has a memory. If you want to change the value of the last output, say you want to make Qn the last output 1 or 0, if you want to specify the value of the output to 1 or 0, you have to apply any of these stages. If you put S equal to 1 and R equal to 0, you can change the output to 1, and then by applying this you can retain that 1 forever. Similarly, if you want the output to be 0, you will put S equal to 0 and R equal to 1, and then you can retain it forever by using both these, S equal to 0, R equal to 0. But this stage is not allowed because we have seen a contradiction happens and this Q will tend to be 1 and 0 simultaneously. So that stage is not allowed because it will give you unpredictable table result. Okay, so this is all you need to know about a SR flip-flop, right? Okay, now if you want to see the circuit symbol, did I show you the circuit symbol? No. Okay, so the circuit symbol of a SR flip-flop is like this. Symbol of SR flip-flop, it is like this. S and R and outputs Q and Q bar, right? This is how SR flip-flop symbol looks like. Okay. For your homework, you will be doing realization of SR flip-flop using NAND gates. Okay. this sorry, not an AND gate, using a NOR gate. The AND gate has been done in the class. You have to do the same circuit using NOR gate. In case you want me to give you a hint, then to perform it, if you have to look at the outputs of the circuit that we have just seen. The outputs are Q equal to S plus Q and Q bar is equal to R plus a Q bar, right? So if you bar both these expressions, Q bar comes up to S plus Q and a bar, and Q double bar, that is equal to Q, comes up to R plus Q bar and a bar. So it is already solved. Just look at the equation. If you want to find Q bar, all you need to do is pass a S and a Q through a NOR gate. If you want to find Q, all you need to do is pass a R and a Q bar through a NOR gate. So it's a very simple circuit, just it will take 2 minutes, right? So this is your homework. Okay, now we move on to clocked SR flip-flop. Clocked SR flip-flop. So what is the requirement of a clocked SR flip-flop? In circuits which consists of a large number of flip-flops or gates, you know, mismatch of time can happen. By what I mean by mismatch of time is all the inputs need to reach up at a particular point of time, but it might happen that, you know, all the inputs are not reaching at the particular point of time, and if that mismatch between the inputs happen, then obviously the output will become wrong, right? So we need all the inputs to reach at a particular point of time, but if that does not happen, our result will obviously be completely wrong. So we have to synchronize the flip-flop with the clock. You know, if we synchronize the flip-flop with the clock, the inputs can be controlled. The timing of the inputs can be controlled. So that is the purpose of a clocked SR flip-flop. To it is useful to overcome the mismatch of the time interval of the input signals. Okay, so how it works, let's see. We'll understand the working once I draw the circuit. So the circuit is very similar to normal SR flip-flop, just that you have a clock attached at the input. Okay, sorry, S R Q bar, and you have a clock attached over here. Okay, the symbol looks like this. It's all the same, just that you have a clock, S R C K and Q and a Q bar. Okay, say this is the structure of a clock pulse, or whatever be it. This is the bit time, or the difference, or the interval between two clock pulses. There is a time over here and there is a voltage. Okay. Now just look into the figure and you'll understand how it works. When the clock pulse is active, that means when CK is 1. When CK is 1, when the clock pulse is active, this becomes 1, this becomes 1. So if these are 1 passing through NAND gate, it will work same as the normal SR flip-flop, right? Because this ones will, whatever be, S dot 1 is obviously a S and a bar. So whatever the result is without a clock will be same as with the clock when the clock pulse is active. So when the clock pulse is active, that is when CK is equal to 1, the clocked SR flip-flop will work exactly as the normal SR flip-flop. The same truth table, the same working, right? Now what happens when the clock pulse is equal to 0? If the clock pulse is equal to 0, whatever be the values of S and R, just have a look at the figure please. If the clock pulse is 0, if we have a 0 from here and a 0 from here, whatever be the values of S and R, you will have a 1 over here, right? That means the entire flip-flop has become non-working. It is no more dependent on the values of SNR. If the clock pulse is inactive, we will get an output 1 and 1 from here, whatever we are SNR values, and our output will be retained, right? The output won't change when the clock pulse is not present. That means, so how it helps? In this stage, even if the input pulses do not arrive at the same point of time, they have this bit time when the circuit is inactive. So at this stage, even if there is a mismatch between the arrival time of the inputs, nothing is going to happen at this stage. Only the circuit will work when the clock pulse is active. So you can understand the small mismatch in the timing of the arrival of the input pulses won't hamper the flip-flop when a clock pulse is attached to it. So this is the help of a clocked SR flip-flop, right? It is mainly helpful in digital circuits where you have numerous flip-flops connected, because that is when the mismatch of the arrival of the input signals can happen, and at that time clocked SR flip-flop works beautifully. Okay. So now we move on to the next flip-flop, that is our JK flip-flop. Okay, so as we progress, we'll see everything has a reason. First we had our SR flip-flop, but then we had the problem of arrival of the input signals at a particular point of time. So we have included clocked SR flip-flop. Now why are we moving on to JK flip-flop? We are moving on to JK flip-flop because we have seen in case of SR flip-flop, this state is not allowed. Okay, now this is the problem of SR flip-flop. The S equal to R equal to 1 stage is not allowed. So we want to improve that in the JK flip-flop, right? So now let's see how a JK flip-flop looks. Please try to understand, okay? Okay. So first I'll draw the JK flip-flop for you, and then I'll explain the working. Realization of JK flip-flop using SR flip-flop. Okay, we'll try to draw the JK flip-flop using a SR flip-flop. Okay, so I'll draw it first and then I'll explain it to you. If you have a SR flip-flop over here, I think you can see. Oh, please do what this symbol means the circuit is not attached over here. Okay, these are gate 1 and these are gate 2. These are SNR, these are SR flip-flop. Okay, okay, just a second. Okay, so just have a look at it. This is how our our JK flip-flop looks like. Okay, so here S is equal to, we have a J coming from this gate and we have taken a feedback from Q bar. So our S is, so over here the output is J Q bar, right? So over here we have J and a Q bar, and R is equal to, we have a K and we have a Q coming from here. So it is K and a Q, that means R is equal to KQ. Okay, so it is nothing, this JK flip-flop is nothing but a SR flip-flop where the value of S is JQ bar and the value of R is KQ. Okay, I would like to repeat, this JK flip-flop is nothing but a SR flip-flop where the value of S is equal to JQ bar and the value of R is equal to KQ. Okay. Now let's see how the problem of our previous SR flip-flop gets resolved in JK flip-flop. Okay. So I'll try to explain it to you. Okay, please have a look at it. Detailed truth table, sorry. So our inputs are J and K this time. Okay, hopefully it is visible. Qn bar, our previous outputs, Sn, Rn, and this is the output that we get. Okay, so what are the combinations of JK? J can be 0, K can be 0. Okay, J can be 1, K can be 0. J can be 0, K can be 1, and J can be 1, K can be 1. Right? Now in each stage we have given 2 stages because our previous output, that is Qn, can have 2 values. It can be 0 and 1, right? So let Qn be 0 in the first stage and 1 in the second stage. 0 and 1. So over here we are doing distinct calculations for each value of Qn. Okay, we are doing the calculation for Qn when it is 0 and when Qn is equal to 1. Okay, over here. So automatically when Qn is 0, Qn bar becomes 1. When Qn is 1, Qn bar becomes a 0. 1 0 1 0 1. This is a 1 0, right? Okay. Now please have a look into the circuit. Okay, that's one. Okay, so now, okay, you don't even this Sn bar, like we have written, is equal to Qn bar, right? And this R bar is equal to KQn, right? So we'll just find the values of S and N. So S is equal to JQn bar. So over here it comes up to 0, and R is equal to KQn. Over here it is 0, right? Then you have a JQn bar, it is 0, and R turns up to be a 0, right? Over you have this JNQn bar gives you a 1, this gives you a 0, this again gives you a 0, this gives you a 0, fine. You have J and J is a 0, so this gives you 0, and these both are 0, so you get a 0 over here. Over here you get 0, over here you get 1. Okay, this 1 1 gives you a 1, 1 0 gives you a 0, 1 0 gives you a 0, 1 1 gives you a 1. Okay, so we have just found out using this logic expression. So now we have found the inputs to the SR flip-flop, that is S and R. So now straight away we'll go to the truth table of SR flip-flop and we'll find out the output. So when the inputs of a SR flip-flop are 0 and 0, the output is Qn. We know that, we have just found out in case of SR flip-flop, right? Similarly over here, both the inputs are 0, so our output is Qn, right? When our S is equal to 1 and R is equal to 0, we know our output is equal to 1. When our S is equal to 0 and R is equal to 0, we get a Qn. Similarly, we have both S and R equal to 0, we have a Qn over here. Over here we have S0 and R1. At that time we get a 0, right? Over here we have 1 and a 0, so we get 1 over here, and S equal to 0 and R equal to 1. That means we get a 0 over here, right? So if we look at the compact table, we can see for our inputs, when both J and KR is equal to 0, we get the previous output, like last output value, right? Now in this case we have J1 and K0. In that stage what happens? Over here we have got 1, right? In the next stage we have got Qn, and if we look into the table, the value of Qn is equal to 1, right? So we can conclude when J is equal to 1 and K is equal to 0, we get a 1, right? Similarly, if we look over here, our J is equal to 0 and K is equal to 1, we get in this a Qn, and just look back, the value of Qn is 0, so over here we get a 0, right? And we have a 0 over here. That means when J is equal to 0 and K is equal to 1, our output is a 0. Now if we look into the last table, last row, when J is equal to 1 and K is equal to 1, we get a 1 and a 0, right? Here 1 is equal to the value of Qn bar is equal to Qn bar. Here 0 is equal to the value of Qn bar is equal to Qn bar. That means our problem gets resolved in a JK flip-flop. For J is equal to 1 and K is equal to 1, we get Qn bar as our output. So if you want to summarize and write the reduced truth table, it comes up like this: Jn, Kn, Qn plus 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. Over here you get a Qn, over here you get a 1, here you get a 0, and over here you get a Qn bar. Sorry. So this is the reduced truth table. Like we can see, the problem in our SR flip-flop, in this state it was not allowed previously, but now it is allowed in case of JK flip-flop, and we get Qn bar as our result, right? So over here I conclude today's lecture. We will continue proceed to the next topic in our next lecture. Thank you so much.